Good morning, good evening. Welcome to this week's chat where we're going to talk about how it's easy to go live when everything's working and how, and are you prepared? What are you going to do when it gets hard? So it has been a really fun few days here at the Casa de Hills. Our internet provider found some nice fun faults for us. So we would have internet for a little bit. I'd turn off and on everything. We'd have internet for a brief while, just long enough for you to go, oh, it's working. And then boom, it'd be gone. So on Saturday, over on my other channel, I have a productivity stream, usually runs for about 3 hours. And I got about the first 10 minutes and I froze. Now, I tried to do everything I could on the computer end, everything I could hear, and it was literally, there was nothing I could do. And for whatever reason, my computer would not connect to my phone. So I had tried connecting my phone as the internet. I had tried disconnecting the Wi-Fi, disconnecting a hard line. None of that worked. But did I give up? No. I didn't go, oh, well, my computer's not working. What I did do was accept that the stream is going to be a bit different than usual. No fancy flashy streams, no intros, nothing like that. Now my Fiberific productivity streams are a lot less talking, a lot more cranked tunes from Creator Mix, and just lots of crafting two-handed things, because it's just about a sort of nearly like a body doubling thing where we can just all get our stuff done, but together. So I'm like, I just had to hope that my phone would pick up the audio from my computer, which it did well enough, and go in, and I just literally had my phone, no microphone, no nothing, and just went. And you know what? My audience loved it. They appreciated the perseverance and that I stuck around and that I didn't just go, oh, well, it's not easy, I'm not going to do it, right? And then that same day, but later, Doug had a problem at his place, different problem than what I had. Mine was that I had no internet at all, so I couldn't even monitor anything on my big screens. I had to read all the comments on a little screen, and I'm a little old lady with bad eyes, like trying to craft and read the comments. It was probably not the greatest look, but Doug had a similar problem where he also had to go live using his phone. So my question for you in the audience is, what do you do? What is your backup plan for if your internet fails or if your lights fail or something fails? Do you have a backup plan? Now, if you've been here before and you've listened to any of my live streaming, I'm going to say ranty rants, mumblings, whatever we want to call it, you know that for me, as far as I'm concerned, if you only have one of something, you have none of something. I have a backup of pretty much everything, or I can do without it. It's like a special bells and whistles, and it's just for looks or whatever. I can do without that. But even then, some of those I've got backups. So how I get my backups is through slow and progressing upgrading of my gear before the gear dies. So I keep the old one because it's not dead, but then I upgrade and get something else. And that's how I've ended up with most of my backups. But the backup from my mobile phone to be my backup for my business internet plan that I have is actually a decision. So I have a phone plan. It's not the cheapest one out there by any stretch of the imagination, but it actually has enough data in it that means that if my internet goes down for the full month, I can actually run my entire business from my phone if I can get everything connected. So I had some problems with my laptop not connecting to it. So there was some things I couldn't get done over the weekend, which really did sort of tick me off a little bit. So my internet plan here runs through one company. My internet plan on my phone runs through a totally different company. They don't share networks, nothing like that. So if one goes down, the other is still working. So love to know what it is that you've got planned if something happens for you. Now let's just jump into the here. Good afternoon, Chantel. Hope you've got your cell phone at the ready for the backup stream if needed. Absolutely, it's right here, getting a bit of extra charge just in case. Doug's in the chat. Hey Doug, how are you going? Back to the retro reviews. Good to see you. It's been a bit. People prepare for lives. Well, some people do. Some people do. And that's the other thing. You don't have to. It depends on what kind of show you're running. Let's have a look here. The show must go on. Yeah, absolutely. Gabby was in the productivity stream. She saw me. And look, I did not handle it well. I got flustered. My hands were shaking. You know how hard it is to try and knit while your hands are shaking and trying to calm all that adrenaline down so that you can get on. Like it took a bit. It took a little bit. Now, admittedly, I didn't do my stream for as long as I usually do. That's usually a 3-hour stream. We went for 2 hours instead. My phone was getting really hot, so I was getting a bit worried about it. Back to the retro review says there's always something that goes wrong with my lives, but you make it through, right? You don't just go, oh, well, and disconnect and that's the end of the live. You work through it. And I think that's the thing. If we're going to be live streaming, we need to be persevering. We need to not give up at the first hurdle, because let's be honest, there's a lot of hurdles when it comes to live streams. Software can fail. Guests can bail. You know, your microphone might not be working. Your camera could be glitching. Oh, this one here drives me up the wall. You know, so we've got all these different things that we've got so many fail points when it comes to a live stream that we need to have at least think about, what would I do if this happened? And it's not to say you need to be all doom and gloomy and go full prepper mode, but you just need to have the thought in your mind so that if something does go wrong, you're not like a deer in the headlights going, I mean, I pretty well did for a second there, but as my stream was frozen, nobody else saw it. Livestream Concern says, doing well this afternoon. It looks like no train wreck today. Maybe I spoke too soon. Yeah, you've spoken too soon. You've totally jinxed us now. With my live stream one, I got about 10 or 12 minutes in before it dropped the baby. It was one of those things. Back to the retro says, my co-host is my backup if my internet fails. Awesome. That's a backup. Yeah, it is. That's the thing. Now, one thing I do want to mention, totally random, off topic. Last week, I didn't notice until right at the last second that I had, or more Doug pointed it out, I had received Buy Me a Coffees and I didn't know that they'd come in. So I've rejigged a little bit here so that if you do send one through, I really should notice it. So I want to thank Doug for the coffee that he sent me through last week, as well as someone whose email address I recognize, for the 3 coffees that they sent through as well. So thank you so much to both of you for sending through coffees. If you do want to send me through a coffee, because, you know, I kind of like coffee. Coffee's cool. Coffee's delicious. Speaking of coffee, I currently have one. You can totally use this QR code, that one there. Boop, boop, where is it? There we go. Finger in the right spot. That QR code there, or you can grab this link and go and check that out there. So, Doug's also jumped in for it. Look at us just dropping those BMAC links all over the place. You know when you make yourself a really good coffee and it's just good. Like sometimes I make myself an awful coffee, right? Let's be honest, it does happen. But this morning I've made myself one of those coffees that you just want to just sit with it. It's really good. Blueberry and vanilla iced coffee. I've never had anything like that before in my entire life. That sounds really interesting. Don't know anything about that. But yeah, considering I drink coffee with no sugar in it, I'm sure it will do my head in. Livestream Consultant says, due to the sketchiness of my cell signal, we have finally decided to get Starlink here and we'll be using my non-AT&T tablet as the internet backup. About a weekish for the changeover. Wow, that is so good. Have you been told what kind of uploads that you can expect to be able to do via Starlink? I'm really curious to see how that works out and how it all goes. So yeah, I cannot wait to see. I don't know why, like the widget should come up. The rant one came up, didn't it? I don't know why the coffee one's not working. I'll have to look into that, Doug. I noticed that on the Saturday stream, the coffee one wasn't working, but Hydrate did. So maybe the link is just dead. I'll need to check the links. So making sure that we run our tests, we double check everything, but no matter how much you check and double check stuff, sometimes things happen outside of your control. And it's not always just, accepting that happens, but understanding how you deal with that stress, understanding how you will respond to it. Do you need, like in the instance where something happened and you were still live and you just needed a moment to get yourself back together, have you made yourself a Be Right Back screen? Something that you can just flash up that drops your audio out, drops your face off camera, where you can just have a moment of just nearly privacy to just pull yourself back together again and then come back ready. I highly recommend that if you don't have one, that you should be making one. It doesn't have to be anything flash, it doesn't have to be anything special, but you want it to mute your microphone and you want it to be off your face. So that if you need to jump up and run somewhere, or like sometimes I have to go out and check for a parcel. The courier's come in and the dog's losing his mind. So I'll drop my thing. So I'll actually jump up and run away. But in the instance where you're just frazzled, like, let me know in the chat. If everything crashes and burns, do you get frazzled? Because I do get frazzled. I do get a bit like, I really need to have pre-thought about things, because as my brain kicks in like my stutter does and just gets stuck for a little second, nothing too dramatic, but it feels like forever. It's not, it just feels like it. But if I've pre-thought out, if I have a plan, then I usually just have like a little, like, oh man, I've already thought about this. I just need to do this, And so sometimes you can just move on, but sometimes you really do just need like okay, how am I going to fix this? And maybe not doing it live with the whole audience watching is what you need. So the backup, the Be Right Back screen is something that's super useful for that. Just so you can just be like, if you need to pull your hair out for a minute or scream or whatever it is that you need to do just to get your whole sort of endocrine system playing nicely again so you can function and focus, you need to have that ready as well. So in saying that, had none of that for my phone. I only had it for my computer. So that was an issue. I don't know if there is an option for having anything like that for your phone. I'm definitely going to look into it. So with your with YouTube, when you go live with YouTube, you can now have you can now throw to like a screen. I don't know if you can do that from your phone. I know you can from desktop, where you can like throw to a previously uploaded clip or an ad or something like that. Doug's done a demo on his channel. I'm going to look into it and see if it's something you can throw to on your phone as well, so that you've got that option as well. I do predominantly stream from a computer, from a desktop. I like having the big monitors so that my little old lady eyes can read everything nice and clearly. But I got frazzled. And it wasn't just because it failed once. I actually had three failures before I gave up on my computer and went to my phone. And then I had 2 failures trying to set my phone up. So I thought, oh gosh, it's just everything's crashing and burning. And there were just a couple of things I'd screwed up. But then something I realized because of the chat told me, is that with the failures and everything that had happened on my end, my stream was technically hung but still live on YouTube. So I still had my community were in the other chat. So luckily for me, I've got fantastic moderators and fantastic community who jumped into the other chat, dropped them the link to let them know where we were now, and helped them to come over to the new place. So that is another advantage of having moderator, at least a moderator in your chat. So yeah, so I was very frazzled. I'm not gonna lie. I was so frazzled. I didn't know what I was gonna do. But do you know what I knew I wasn't gonna do? I wasn't gonna be quitting. Like, I was not gonna be quitting. Like, more had to go wrong for me to quit. And it's one of those things where I don't know why with some things I'm just so like, no, that's not an option. Whereas other things I'm like, oh yeah, whatever, cool. But I was not quitting. So let me know in the chat, would you have quit? If you had 3 failures on your computer and then 2 on your phone, would you have given up the ghost, or would you have continued on and tried? So let me know in the chat if you would have, called it a day, or given it another go. Because really, I don't actually see anything wrong with people trying a few times and then going, I can't make it work. But for me, the issue is where one thing fails and they don't have any kind of backup and they're like, oh, well, or it's nearly like it's just an excuse not to, oh, well, the thing's not working, so I can't do it. There's no sort of, there's no, see, for me, I look at it like I owe these streams. I owe my monthly subscribers of my different memberships, I owe them these streams. And when I don't do them, I have all this internal guilt. And maybe that's a personality flaw. It probably is, actually. It's probably a personality flaw. But so for me, there has to be a lot going on for me not to stream. So like over Christmas and everything, I really did want to come back in and stream, except this was a box room. So everything extra out of my house that was in the way to have all the people over for Christmas lunch. Like, so we had all tables down the whole middle of our house. That all came in here. So I needed a few days to just put everything back where it went. So I lost a stream that way and things like that. So stuff happens and, you know, you're just not going to stream, but you know you're not going to stream. But yeah, so it's just one of those things. So let me know, would you have continued on, or would you have, I'm just checking because like, I'm like, am I still here? Am I still here? Someone in the chat let me know that it's still, I'm super paranoid now. It looks like it's still running. It really does. I am so paranoid now. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. Oh look, I'm paranoid, so let's drink coffee. That's so counterintuitive. Doug says it's solid. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate you letting me know. So yeah, so it's definitely, I don't know what the problem was with my internet. There was like, when I was running through the fault list, there was a particular fault that was like a particular report, test that kept failing. And so it took my telco too long, as far as I'm concerned, considering I pay for a business plan, to actually resolve the issue. It was supposed to be within 4 hours that I was supposed to hear back from somebody. It took them 24 hours. Now, admittedly, it was a weekend, but when I logged the call, their system said 4 hours as well. So I was a bit perturbed, is probably the best way to describe it. And I sort of sat here later that afternoon, sort of thinking, well, I'm really glad that I've got physical media, because, you know, I can at least sit on the couch and watch a show that I like, because just about everything else we have is through a streaming service. We even stream the free-to-air channels because our connection to some of the terrestrial channels is a bit janky. And so, you know, we stream a lot here. So, and my husband and I were actually discussing about how we're so lucky that we've made the option to not connect any of our major appliances to the internet. Like, nothing we have is connected to the internet. The reason why for me is I'm not convinced that it's secure. And I hear horror stories that it's a backdoor into, you know, getting into your router connections. So I don't know how true or not that is, but I don't see the need to you know, have my fridge on the internet, or to have anything other than my TVs and my, like, you know, I've got a lot connected. I've got a house full of Google Homes and Google Minis and all this sort of stuff. She says, worrying about technology and data. But yeah, it's just one of these, you know, one of those things. Doug, I think you're in the middle of typing coffee and then has gone, who needs their fridge connected to the internet? I don't know, but it is a thing, and I don't really understand why. Has it got something to do with like being able to order your stuff, like just being able to go, you know, hey fridge, you know, stick milk on the shopping? I don't know. I don't know why it would be. I don't know. Things like your air conditioner I can sort of get. So if you're on your way home and you know it's hot out and you want to get that air conditioning pumping before you walk in the door, I could kind of see that. But like, really, are your windows open? Like, who turns their aircon on when their windows are open? So yeah, and that's the thing. Shopping listing cameras that keep track of what you've got in the fridge. Like, there are times when I'm like, oh man, I'll be at the shops, be like, do I have a capsicum already? I don't even know. As I buy another one, you get home and there's like 3. And you're like, well, we're going to have something heavy with capsicum for dinner. So, you know, it's that I can kind of see it, but at the same time, I don't want it. And I'm relieved we don't have it, because when the internet fails, what are terrestrial channels? So they're the free-to-air channels. Like, we've got, 4 basic networks that are just, all their content is free. You don't need to pay for it in any way. It's like the antenna on your roof picks up the signal for those. You don't need to be connected to anything. I just call them terrestrial channels. Is that wrong? I don't know. But yeah, so it's just whatever the free-to-air networks are, like a couple of news, like, you know, we've got Channel 9, Channel 7, Channel 10, Channel 2, SBS, and I think Bris 31. Is Bris 31 even still a thing anymore? I don't even know. But anyway, so these are all, like, you know, networks, and they do have digital versions, and we do normally watch the digital versions. But when you don't have the internet, then your TV is just nothing. Channels on Earth, not outer space. Yes, absolutely. Hey, Living with Parkinson, great to see you in the chat. So yeah, so having I don't know, like, what is it called? It's just the non-cable networks. Is that right? You don't need to have a cable connected to be able to watch them. I don't know. I don't know what they're called. Anyway, you got to have an antenna on your roof or the internet connected to make them work, but you don't have to pay to access them. They're totally free. But yeah, so, you know, we had that, and so that was good. And then I had to go out because it was my cousin's 50th, so we went to a party, which was a lot of fun. And then we came home, and the internet was working, so I was able to sit on my computer and like jump into Doug's chat. But then just as Doug's chat was winding up, everything crashed and burned again. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I couldn't get my phone to hotspot to my laptop either. I ended up rebooting everything a couple of times. And then like, I had to reboot my laptop like 2 or 3 times, my phone a couple of times, and eventually I got them to connect. Because it was, the frustrating thing is they've connected before, where you just go, connect your MacBook with your iPhone. Like, boom, connect, done, no issues. So I'm like, why are you saying that's an issue? I don't like. Anyway, so I was getting frazzled. So I ended up not being in part of Nick's chat very much on Saturday night. Sunday, I got the message from my telco saying to, you know, I had to go in and poke something with a pin for 3 seconds and reboot the NBN, like totally do an NBN reset, which is not something I normally power off and power on, but this was like a full on like reset thing. So did that. Seems to be going okay now. They sent through a report this morning saying that everything on their end is looking good now. So please cross your fingers for me. I don't know if I trust it or not, but I'm really just, I need to. Livestream Consultant says, I was just joking. I know what they are. I've played with the Earth, Moon, Earth transmissions. Oh, okay. All right. They call them over, so they call them over the air channels. Is that in the US they call them over the air channels? Yeah. At least you didn't let the magic smoke out when you did that. Yeah. It was, I get frazzled when not frazzled, I get annoyed when things that I pay for don't work how they're supposed to work. I get annoyed. You know, internet is not cheap in Australia. I don't know about in the US. It's not cheap here. And so, you know, I just want it to work. That's it. Doug says most people in the US are probably on cable. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I understand that. That stinking magic smoke is a pain to put back in. Yes, once it's out, it's gone. It's gone now. All gone. So yeah, so, you know, and so I was sort of thinking over sort of yesterday afternoon and earlier this morning while I was sitting out having my breakfast, thinking about, you know, how today I was definitely going to be talking about persevering on your channel, persevering with your live streams. Even when things don't go to plan, it can still be good. So my productivity stream certainly did not go to plan, but it was still good people enjoyed it. I actually think we had more viewers in the vertical live stream than we normally get in the horizontal stream. Now, I don't know if that was people doubling up on devices or what have you, but I definitely had a lot more people in the vertical. And I was so concerned that because it's vertical live stream, it's going to be going through the shorts feed. I was so worried that we were just, you know what it's like. Sometimes you just get the trolls. The trolls are just coming in. I was already frazzled. I didn't know how I was going to cope with trolls, but 0 trolls. At least none that I noticed. So maybe the mods were just on fire, and like while I'm looking down or trying to focus on the teeny tiny words, then you know the mods may have dealt with them. But as far as I saw, there were no trolls, which really shocked me, because the last time I went live vertically, it was a legit dumpster fire. Just the trolls were just hardcore, which is why I don't go live vertically. It's a lot to deal with, and with how I am, with how everything is. I don't need that extra. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm here, I'm doing my stuff. Do I need the extra of dealing with the trolls or making Doug deal with the trolls? When, you know, sometimes he's actually not at his computer. He's on his phone on his way to work and things like that. Like, I don't want to put that kind of pressure on anybody. So, Livestream Consultant says, I told you, people love a good train wreck. They really do. People do love a good train wreck. They want to see if you can, like, it's like the scary roller coaster ride or something. It's like, you know, or the car racing where it's like the image of the car flipping. Like, did they just flip all the way over, land back on their wheels and keep going? That's how I felt like my stream did. It flipped on its wheels and it totally flipped like this. like boot over the front of the car, but landed on its wheels and then kept going. Maybe not to the best of its ability, but it kept going. Amazing Yacht Destination, so good to see you. You've been lurking and listening to the firestorm. It's a bit like that, isn't it? Dimmy Hard, so good to have you jump into the chat. Thank you. And Doug's waving to everybody. Good job, Doug. But yeah, so just having a plan, like, hopefully you will never ever have to implement the plan, but having a plan in the bed, Ludicrous is perfect for this. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Ludicrous feed. Oh yes, definitely. So having a plan, like a backup that you may never want to have to rely on, but you've got it there just in case. Having that there, like, belt and suspenders, go for both. Have them both there at all times so that you can just rely on the systems that you've set up. Because I got frazzled and adrenaline kicked in, and then by the time everything settled, my hands just shook for an hour while I'm trying to knit. And it wasn't because I was like upset or angry or anything like that. It was just, they were just shaken. I just say that the adrenaline of everything just crashing and burning sort of just slowly got through the system. And yeah, so my stutter kicked in a good amount, which was not ideal, but it happens. And so that kicks in when I get stressed out, or when I'm overtired, which is probably a bit of both at that time. And so, you know, it wasn't too bad, but I noticed it, you know, maybe no one else noticed it. I noticed it. I noticed when I got stuck. And luckily for that kind of stream, I didn't have to actually talk that much because it's more about just getting stuff done. So I had like if it was going to crash and burn, it was a good stream for it to crash and burn on. Whereas poor Doug, he had all like screen shares he wanted to share for his, and he couldn't get those in. It'd be good if we could work out like backups for that. Like if we could work out a backup to be able to just drop those into your phone so that you could share them on screen. There's got to be a way, right? Like, I know that my friend Tiffany Lee Bymaster, she is only a vertical streamer, and she actually puts herself in the corner and always has like a background of a document. So, and that's live, that's not a pre-record. So she's been doing that for years. So there's definitely a way to do it. I've just never done it before. And now with, you know, the new softwares and stuff, like everything's increasingly getting more intuitive and getting better. There's probably, so you guys are probably sitting here like, oh yeah, we know exactly how to do that. It's totally do it all the time. I don't. I've not done it. I'm not a phone streamer. The biggest reason I don't stream on my phone is I need to have my phone like pretty close to my face to be able to read everything. Yeah, and you know, it's just one of those things. Like I need like for me to be able to, I can't just, you know, have it like over here and be able to see everything. It doesn't work for me. I can't read everything on the screen. And I know some people can. I cannot. So for me, I need to have it a little bit closer, and then I feel like I'm extremely close. Like, hello, and your face is like, hello, everybody, and your eyes are like really big and like, oh, yeah, no, it's a no from me. But if you've done the PDF slideshow, then maybe it would need a third-party app. It's definitely something we should, well, I'm going to look into just to have it in my backup arsenal. It's not something I want to do regularly, but like how hard it is to throw all the pre-prepared things, prepared, that's a word that my mouth doesn't like, pre-prepared things into, you know, when we're setting up all our scenes and stuff, just drop it all into the software that you need for your phone, and then drop that to your phone. Hopefully you never ever need it, but if you do, it's right there, all ready to go. Just make it part of your process. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that's overkill? It's probably overkill. That's probably overkill. Like, how often is your entire internet going to go out and you have to live stream from your phone? Like just knock wood that I don't, you know, jinx myself. So, a very important question. Totally not related to live streaming. Are we all ready for it? Are you all sitting down? Who has watched the new Starfleet Academy? Because I have. And I have thoughts. And I've been reading some articles about it. So, Livestream Consultant says, I've had the entire power grid crash during my live stream. That's something I don't have set up here. And if Russell was here, he would be literally kicking me. He would be kicking me. I don't have a UPS set up, and it's stupid to not have a UPS set up. Or to have any kind of backup power that can run just my computer. I don't need it to run like extra lights and anything like that, but just the backup power to run the computer so I can continue to work when there's no power and I don't have to worry about my laptop and everything dying or being forced to use a laptop because I can't use my monitors, things like that. I don't have anything like that, which is a bit dumb. We do lose, we're pretty lucky in this particular house. We don't lose power a lot, but a lot of houses around us do. And so, knock wood again. There's something janky for some reason. From what I've been told, our house is somehow connected to the same power grid as the local hospital, except we're not actually that close to the hospital, so I don't understand how. So we don't lose power very often. So yeah, even if you ran your phone and a light would be enough. Yeah, no, I'm thinking more along the lines, not so much even just for live streaming, because yeah, you could just change it over to your phone. I'm thinking more along the lines of just being able to continue working, being able to continue on and not just come to a grinding halt because there's no power. Because, you know, there's still things I can do when I don't have internet. If I don't have power, there's nothing I can do work-wise other than write notes and think, which is fine. That's something that can be done. So it's to me, it's an excuse to go and find a comfy chair and do some knitting, you know, like I don't need much of an excuse really. It's like, oh, look, my brain hurts. I think I'll have to go and knit something. I'm like literally looking around here and there's project there. There's like 3 projects there and there's 2 out on my chair. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good for that. I don't need much encouragement for that. Oh, fantastic, Chris. I love that suggestion. I'll have to go and have a look at the GIFs that you've sent through. But yeah, so, you know, just the backups of the things. Like, let me know in the chat, do you have backups? Not necessarily just for the internet, but like for your lights, for your camera. Do you have something somewhere that that would, I think my real question is, do you have a situation where if something goes down, your creator journey stops? and there's nothing you can do about it unless you go out, shop, like leave your home, go shopping, buy a thing, and come back. Like, are you in that situation? I would love to know the answer to that. Now, yeah, sometimes I just want the new thing, right? The new toy, the new thing. I got the new Rode hub, which I'm absolutely loving, I have to say. I remember a couple of years ago when they put out a survey over, if we made a hub, what would make it awesome? And they sort of like, and for me, the biggest thing is most of the hubs don't have enough ports. They just straight up don't have enough ports. And so I've been running double or triple hubs on my desk now for ages. I got this new hub in and I'm down to one hub now. And I'm just like, I love this. And it's a powered hub. And it's like, I think they're 10 gig connections or 5 gig connections or something. They're solid. They're good. They do everything I need them to do. And I'm just loving it. Chris, you're killing me here. More ports. Yeah, absolutely. I always need more ports. There's oh, look, you can just run everything off your laptop. And I'm like looking at like, okay, like I got a Mac Mini. Every port's got plugs in it. And I've got my hub and just about every port's got plugs in it. And I'm like, maybe I have a few too many things. But admittedly, I do have things like a printer plugged in and stuff like that. So and my backup hard drives are currently plugged in and unnecessary to have them plugged in at all times. These are things that could be unplugged and then plugged in as need be. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think I got a bit frazzled. It became my life for the weekend, and then watching Doug go through something similar, like his issue was different. Doug, did you get that sorted out, just out of curiosity? Because yours seemed to be more of an ingest issue than your internet. Mine was my internet. But yeah, it's frustrating. So, it's really, how do I put this? It's nearly easy when everything works, right? You're in the flow. You're just doing the stuff that you're used to doing. The muscle memory's kicked in. You're just making your thumbnail, making your title. You are setting everything up, adding in the things that you want to add in to your production. It's all like a process you're used to doing. Then you hit go live and you're live. Everything's great, and you have your live stream and then you move on. That's fantastic. But what happens when something crashes and burns? How likely are you to just, pick everything up and just keep moving, or are you going to just use it as the excuse or the reason? Like, it might well be a reason, but like the one challenge, will you just let that be the reason you're not doing it, when you could overcome it possibly if you had a plan in place? I know, and I just want to say, I'm not going to diminish real reasons why people can't stream. Like, if you're in a situation where your mobile phone data can't be your backup, then if your internet goes down, that's a real reason you can't stream. For me, I'm in a lucky situation where my mobile phone data can be a backup. It's not as good, but it's definitely doable. But I also know it's not possible for everybody. So I'm not trying to be judgmental here. I'm just trying to ask the questions. Have you thought about it? Have you tested it? Have you checked what options you actually have? Because you may have more than you think. Or, and this could be worse, you may be thinking something's a backup option when it's actually not. So you've got that false sense of security. Doug needs to revisit and do some tests. Good call. Livestream Consultant says, my challenge once I get the Starlink set up is running a couple of Ethernet lines to where I need them. Yeah, I don't know anything about Starlink at all. So I've got a friend who's got Starlink, and it made a huge difference for her. But part of it comes down to where you position the actual thing, the physical Starlink. Is it a dish? I don't think it's a dish, but whatever that hardware is, a lot of it comes down to exactly where you are positioning that. And then they do supply, like if you buy the installation, bought the installation kit. So they got some extra cords and cables and stuff in there. I don't know if it'd be enough to make a difference for you or not. I don't know the answers. Now, back to the new Star Trek. So I had to do a little bit of homework on it because I'd been one of those people that couldn't really get into Discovery. I really struggled with Discovery a bit. But then when Strange New Worlds started, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here for that. So I started watching Strange New Worlds. But what I've realized is I do need to go back and watch a bit more Discovery to try and get some more of the context around some of the things that they're talking about in this new series. I could probably get by without it. Like I did a Google search, so I've got the rough ideas. But I want the broader context. So I am actually going back and watching Discovery. But I watched the first 2 episodes and I actually really like them. I've been reading some articles and people are just really judgmental of it, and you know, they're like, Star Trek it's too woke, blah 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 blah, and you're just like, I'm sorry, have you watched Star Trek before? Because it always was. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing new. In that regard, not even like the original Star Trek. Hello, there's so many things in there that were just like, really? That's a bit, you know, crazy for TV at this in this era. But yeah, look. So far, 2 episodes in, I'm enjoying it. We'll wait and see what happens and how they progress that storyline. But I think I'm going to be in my brain probably equating it more to Deep Space Nine than to Next Generation because of the. I mean, admittedly, they do have a ship. So maybe they will go off and have adventures. But I'm thinking it's more of like a static situation and things will happen to them rather than them go out and, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We were only 2 episodes in, but apparently, I could be wrong. I think it's been greenlit so far for 2 seasons. So, I'm curious. Oh, no, that's not what I want to do. Sorry, just about. The square dish will be in the middle of the house in my case, but one computer is at one end of the house and the other, so like in the middle of the house, but on the roof, because they have to be outside, don't they? They need to have line of sight to the satellites. We'll have to run, hang on, come back. I didn't finish reading that. Come back. One computer is at one end of the house and the other is an outbuilding. We'll have to run that one under the ground to get to it. Okay. All right. It sounds like there's lots to do. I got around a lot of that by installing Google Mesh. So in saying that, I do run a cord every now and again across the entire house. It's literally right now snaked out of this room, past down a hallway, through the dining room and into the room where the router is. It's like my backup here. And I really would like to run it up through the walls and stuff, but I'm not gonna. Not unless I'm getting any other electrical work done, and then I'll run the cables with it. But no, because in Australia you have to have an electrician do all that kind of work. You're not allowed to do it yourself. So, well, I could probably run the data cable myself, but I'm not going to go and open up walls and deal with getting in and out of the roof unless I'm doing that electrical work that I want done at the same time. So, yes, there's a big long list of electrical work I'd like to get done, but there's a really big thing in the way, which is the electricians don't like our probably out of date, what's the box called where your meters and everything are, the meter box. It's been set up pretty old, and the last few electricians have kind of just kept janking it up. So the new ones, like every new one we've had look at it like, no, that needs to be pulled out and redone and labeled properly and blah, 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 blah. I get it. It's a safety issue. But yeah, so getting someone in to do that is going to be expensive. Plus also then I want the aircon set up in here and I want extra power points set up in here, and all that in Australia is all electrician work. So I know in other countries you're allowed to do your own electrical work. We are not. The second it involves anything to do with mains power, we are not allowed to touch it. We are allowed to change light bulbs, but the second you need to touch, and you can change physical light fittings that don't mean you need to move any wiring. The second any wiring is involved, you're supposed to have an electrician come and do it. That's just how it's done in Australia. So, and electricians are expensive here. Tradies are all very expensive and in high demand, and there's a massive shortage. So if you're a young person and you're stuck and you don't know what you want to be doing with your life and you're good with your hands, go and be a tradie. Go and be a tradie. We need lots more. It's only a safety issue if you let the smoke out. Oh man. But yeah, no, so like we do, I read this hilarious article. Somebody had called a building somebody was doing a renovation on a property, right? They were in the UK. They were doing a renovation on a property in the UK. Someone from another country contacted their local council to report them for not doing something that was supposed to have been done in their renovation. The building inspectors have come out only to realise 2 different countries, 2 different building codes. This person in this other country was having a conniption because this person over here in the UK didn't build their building according to the building code of that country. And you're kind of just like, oh, okay, all right. Maybe don't call building inspectors on people in other countries if you don't understand the laws. Oh my gosh. Here we go. I was an operating engineer. I think that counts as a tradie. I don't know. Like for us, when I think of tradies, and I could be wrong here, so any other Aussies jump in. When I think of tradies, I think of builders, bricklayers, gyprockers, electricians, plumbers, that kind of stuff. So yeah, and like, you know, brickies hands and stuff like that. So like, and their assistants kind of thing. They're all sort of tradies. I don't know. I don't know if an engineer, I don't think engineers count as the tradies. They're usually the guys that tell the tradies what needs to be done and here's your plans. And yeah, they've got to be on the tools. That's right. Valentine Station. Good to see you, by the way. They've got to be on the tools. You're right. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if you're an operating engineer, are you on the tools? I don't know. But I'm thinking more along the lines of plumbers, carpenters, builders, electricians, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I did dirt work running 100,000-pound machines building freeways in Southern California. Okay. I don't think you're considered a tradie. Not in Australia. I don't think you're considered a tradie. I think that's different. I could be wrong. But I think it's a bit different. So yeah. Because my granddad used to build dams and he was not considered a tradie, and he drove the excavators and built the dams. So yeah. Oh, it is out here. Okay, there you go. Again with the differences, because I also know that over in the US, you guys can do some of your own electrical work, right? And some of your own plumbing work. Is that right? So, whereas we're not allowed. They don't trust us to not burn our own houses down. I'm actually reassured by it, to be honest, because it means if the next door, you know, does all their own electrical work and their house burns down, then mine probably won't burn down either. A crossover for sure in the terms of scope. I think so. I think there's definitely crossover there, but I'm just not entirely certain. Are you right there, Lulu? He just had a big stretch. It's like, Mum, I'm here. Don't forget I exist. It's my little dog. So it's definitely interesting. The different countries having different rules over, you know, what you can and can't sort of work on in your own home. I do watch a lot of like renovation content and stuff like that, and I just think here unless you're a qualified tradie, a lot of this just costs, like, they're like, oh, I'm just going to do this quick job. It's just going to cost me like $1,000 to do this work. And I'm thinking it'd cost me 5,000 just to get the tradie. So yeah. Here you go. I can do all the repairs in the new construction as long as you have the blueprints approved and the work inspected afterwards. Yeah. So I think for us, it depends on what it is you're trying to build. Like if you're building a shed, yes. If you're building a house, no. We've got different rules and different laws around sort of like what's the differential term here where it's like where it becomes somewhere where people live versus where people are, because lots of people work in their sheds all the time. But like in Australia, you're not allowed to like just make a bedroom in a shed and call it that and rent it out. There's different building codes for sheds than there are for houses. So I don't know. Maybe they're just making it too hard. I know some people here think that they are. So yeah. I don't know if I'd trust my building. Maybe 10 years ago I'd trust it. Not so much now. I don't know. I do look at some of the cute little like sheds and workshops and stuff that people build, and I'm like, I would like that. I could probably build it with some help. So that's the thing. Like you can buy a shed kit, and then you're allowed to put that together by yourself. But if you want electrical or plumbing, you've got to get someone in to do that. But yeah, I can build whatever I want as I'm in the country instead of the city. But yes, everything is game here. Okay. Yeah, it is. It's a bit different because I think, yeah. I think here it depends on if it's a like a dwelling. That's the word I was looking for, dwelling, versus a building, like an outbuilding. There's differences. Dwelling was the word that was getting caught in my brain. We have it now. Anyway. Yeah. It is definitely interesting because I think I would love to have just a little bit more space and just be able to, like, one thing I really miss is I used to have what we called the donga out the front. So it's a demountable building. It arrived on the back of a truck. It's what I don't know if they used them in the US, but in Australia, it's like the little portable office that they crane onto work sites. It's got air conditioning and a door, and it's like it's like, you know, mine was 9 meters long, I want to say. 9 meters long, and then 3 meters wide. And so, you know, it's not enormous, but it just fits on the back of a big truck, and they just crane it in and drop it in your yard, and you just run power to it. So I had that for many years, but I rented mine. And then COVID hit and they doubled the rent on it, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not paying that for that. It was old, and I wasn't paying that for that. I really do miss that space. I miss being able to finish work and close the door and walk away, because I would close it, lock it, I had a padlock on it, put a little padlock on it, and come inside. And I do miss that. I do miss that separation from work. I mean, I've got a door here, but this room is also my craft room, so I'm coming and going in here all the time. So let me know in the chat, do you have a separate space for your work or YouTube or anything like that? Now I'm supremely grateful that we have a spare bedroom that I can have my setup here permanently, which I do. Supremely grateful for that. Like, I'm not in any way trying to diminish that. I am very lucky to have this space. I do just miss the old space, that's all. Connex container, they are popular. Yeah, so I'm thinking that the Connex containers are more like the shipping containers that have had like the windows and stuff cut into it. Is that right? These are a little bit different. They're not as sturdy, I want to say, but similar idea. I just need my 6,000 square foot shop hanger garage just so I can work on my own vehicle and build my plane. That's, yeah, so 6,000 square feet work out to be in in meters. It sounds large. Let's just go with that. It sounds exceptionally large. Mine was 18 square meters. Let me just do the conversion. 18 meters square to, it helps if I can type the word square, you know, to feet. It says 193 square feet. I don't know how correct that is, but that's what Google says. So that was the space I had, and that was very cool. Living with Parkinson's says, all I have is a 1-bedroom apartment, but then again, it's just me and my cat, so I am good. Yeah, I mean, that's the difference. Like, I've got my husband and daughter are here as well, and my husband works from home sometimes, so he's got a little alcove where his stuff is. Our daughter is sometimes home, so like, I think right now she's actually still asleep. Advantage of teenagers. She might be awake, I don't know. So you know, we have a small 3-bedroom house. And so, yeah, it's just, you know, it's fine. We have a lot of crap. It's fine. But yeah, sometimes, especially like, cause it's also quite thin walled. So if I'm going to be recording late at night, my daughter's bedroom is like right there. So she gets annoyed if I'm loud, and right now she would consider this loud. So, yeah, so, you know, the proximity is just that little bit too close. Whereas before, when I had the shack, it didn't bother anybody. It wasn't too close to the neighbors. It wasn't too close to us. No one cared. So yeah, it was good. It was good for that. Yeah, it sounds correct. Thank you. Because I'm never quite sure, especially with those sort of more, not quite straight, like it was the square meters to square feet versus just a straight meter to feet. So yeah. For me, it's the outbuilding. It's about 10 feet by 16 feet with tall ceilings. The hangar will be the big space. Yeah, I can imagine that would need to be quite large. But yeah, so I think I called it the shack. The shack didn't have particularly high ceilings. I'm short, so it was fine for me. But I think if you're a 6 foot tall person, you might have been feeling that it was a little close, but I'm not a 6 foot tall person. Thank you, Doug. I will hydrate. So yeah, I'm like a 5'2" person. So, you know, I don't technically, the high ceilings just mean it's harder for me to keep it clean. Like, yes, it creates an airiness and it looks amazing. Yeah, nope, too hard to reach. I can't get anything up there to clean down the spider's webs. But yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, like, I know, like, I'm very lucky to have this space here. And one of the big things I do love about this space is that I just need to keep this desk tidy, and I've got a space where I don't have to worry about washing baskets and stuff behind me, or mirrored cupboard doors or anything, because I used to have a different space in the house, and that was always an issue. I had to put like a little curtain sort of situation around me, like create a backdrop that curved around me, and I really felt sort of claustrophobic in it. Back in the day when I first started streaming, because that's where the computer was, and it was a big tower computer and moving it around kind of thing. But yeah, it's I think it comes down to, like, well, for a start, you don't need the big tower computer live stream anymore. Like, hello laptops, like MacBook Air will do a basic live stream for sure. Your phone will do a live stream. So you don't need all that sort of that heavy duty equipment anymore. Like, the barrier to entry for live streaming has really changed. So, I mean, admittedly, if I was still there, I wouldn't have to run a cable across the floor because the router is in that room. So yeah. Let me have a look. Some of those sheds, I hit my head on the ceilings on one side due to how low the ceilings are in some of them. Yeah, I could believe that. You're a very tall person. You're very tall, and I could see you doing that. But yeah, no, these weren't too bad. I mean, I didn't feel like it was low Do you know what I mean? Like, but in saying, like, I also have a different perspective. I am the 5'2" person. I'm just sort of looking here. I don't think it was much shorter than our house. Now, we don't have, actually, I don't think it was much shorter at all, because I'm just thinking I used to actually have these backdrops and everything out there. Let me just have a look. I think we're only talking like the roof was maybe this much shorter. So what is that? That's maybe 4 inches, maybe 5 inches. Where's a ruler? So what is that? That's 4 inches. So it's 10 centimeters. So yeah. So you know, it wasn't hugely shorter than my actual house is. Sorry, I was able to look over here because this wall covering doesn't reach the floor here, whereas it reached the floor in the other one. So, yeah. But I think we have lots of options. There's lots of options. And depending on the kind of channel that you've got and the kind of live streams that you're doing and all that sort of stuff and how many people are in your home and you know, like it'd be a 1-bedroom place with one person. You can, and if you've got a corner you can set up, you'd be fine. But because I've got to allow for other people, I think that's where my thing is coming in. I'm trying to be really not ungrateful for the space I have because I'm very grateful for it, but I'm like, I would like some more space, please. I'm actually got a big plan once IKEA gets some more stuff in, because it's like I can only get 2 of the 3 boxes, is I'm replacing the storage here. It's all going to be floor to ceiling storage. So it's going to look a bit different. We'll see how it goes. I don't think I'm going to leave the colour brick wall behind it. It'll be a sky blue wall. So, but there'll be crap on the shelf. So it's not crap. Amazing things. Amazing important things that are all important to me. Little Crafty Nook, great to see you. How you going? So yeah, so I'm going to be like, just, you know, all the stuff that's here now will probably be there in some description. So everything on both these shelves, that'll all be there somewhere. Plus also some of the crap things, very important things that are over there that are just in a pile. They'll be folded up nicely and displayed. So yeah, that's my plan. And that will actually give me back some of the space in this room, because there is some pretty big piles of just blankets I've made and garments I've made that are too big to fit in my very small drawers and you know, things like that. So that they'll look beautiful displayed. So yeah, nice reframe. Yep. But yeah, so that's the long. I wouldn't even say long-term plan. That's the mid-term plan. Like, that was the plan I wanted to get done before I came back after Christmas, but couldn't get the supplies. So I'm just waiting for the supplies. And now I've missed the sale, because that's the frustrating thing, isn't it? The sale is over and I'm going to have to spend an extra couple of $100 on it. It will be a nice set, not crap. Yep. Yeah, definitely not crap. Can I ask a question to all of you in the chat? How many of you keep the nice boxes? I'm like looking around over here and I've got, like, you know, the IKEA Kallax cube set. So I've got like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got a 5x4. 5x4 over on the wall there. And 2 of the cubes are just taken up with nice boxes. Plus also stacked on top for like the Rodecaster. I've got its box, and I've got my laptop box, and I've got, you know, that sort of stuff. Like, how many of you keep that stuff, or do I, or am I just, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Do I just get rid of them? I don't actually want to get rid of the boxes. Like, usually when I upgrade and give away my bits and bobs, I can put them back into their original packaging and send them off. Sometimes I do give away stuff or sell stuff and then every now and again I'll go through and get rid of the box, because I'll be like, oh, I could have sent that box off with that, but I forgot. So, but I like the boxes. Like, I don't keep boxes of the cheap things, right? Of, like, you know, ball head mounts and clamps and stuff. I don't keep those boxes. I'm talking like the boxes for all the Apple stuff and all the Rode stuff and all, you know, I've got the Ozbot box and I don't have my Brio box, that's gone. I do have the box for my screwdriver still. Like, is that sad? Is that sad? That I still have the box for my Linus Tech Tip screwdriver? I love this screwdriver. I think this is great. I would like to get the little one, the little tools one. But yeah, that's probably the smallest thing I've still got. Oh no, I've still got the box for my watch and my watch bands. But yeah, let's have a look. Doug says he's a box hoarder. Little Crafty Nook says I'm going to have a storage unit set built in April. Very nice, very nice. Valentine Station says I put those in deep storage. I don't have a deep storage option. I have in my house or not. We don't even have a garage. We have a carport. So we don't have a deep storage option. We have in our house or not in our house. We don't have an attic and we don't have a basement. So it is in our house or not. Livestream Consultant says I keep most of the boxes. I even have the boxes from 2 monitors I purchased from 7 years ago, and especially all of the mics. I do have my mics boxes. I have my camera boxes. I'm just thinking what else I've got. I don't. Once I've used my monitors and same for TVs and stuff as well. Once they're up and set up, and we normally keep those boxes for like a month to double check that everything doesn't turn to crap and we don't need to take them back. So once we get past that point, we get rid of the box and move on from there because we don't have anywhere safe from rain really to store anything. That Rode box is handy because of the diagram. Yeah, so it's right there, so I can see that. So yeah. Living with Parkinson says, believe it or not, in this little 1-bedroom apartment, I have an attic and I can keep a lot of my boxes in. See, I'm a bit jealous now. I understand why we don't have basements in Australia. I get that. It's like too close to our water table, all that kind of stuff. I get that. Why can't we have attics? I want an attic. How cool would an attic be? I think if I built my own house, I'd build an attic. Just for fun of having an attic. I think attics look fun. Also, basements look fun. But anyway, and the other thing is with basements, we don't need to keep our water heaters inside usually. At least in Queensland. I'm in Queensland, so the rules might be different in other places. So I'm in Brisbane, and so it's subtropical here. So we've got different stuff. There's different stuff. We have an attic as well. Very difficult to navigate though for 2 bedrooms. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, another thing I learned is in different countries. Like for me, I say I've got a 2-bedroom house. In other countries, a 2-room house would be 1 bedroom and a living room. And so we have 3 bedrooms plus 2 living areas. So yeah. I do not have an issue with the water table here as it's around 400 feet down. Yeah. So, and that's the thing, like in Australia, we just don't usually build basements. Also, a lot of flooding. So we actually tend to, like, we have this house called a Queenslander. So you can Google a Queenslander house, and normally a house that's up off the ground, stilts, you don't build in under it. It allows the air to flow through. You have like a long hallway through the middle of the house from the front door to the back door. So it creates all these nice airy pathways. Lots of people have been building in underneath their Queenslanders and then putting in bedrooms and what have you like that. And then a flood comes and then they lose everything. So we don't have a Queenslander. We're a little 3-bedroom brick and tile kind of thing. Like we're on the ground. I think it'd be better if we were not on the ground. But yeah, so different places obviously have different building codes, but I would be curious to know if there was a reason why we don't have attics in Australia. I mean, other than the fact that they'd probably be spider breeding grounds. You're in a track home. What's a track home? I don't know what a track home is. Hang on, let me Google that. Track home. Mass-produced house built by a developer. No, I'm not in a track home. So our house is a bit old, and so ours was built by the owner, as was the neighbour's house next to us, as was the neighbour next to us. We've got different size blocks, different styles of houses. Track homes, like we have developers, like we do have those developer track home sort of things happening near us, but we're not that. I don't know if I could live in that, honestly. I've seen like shows in the US where just all the houses look exactly the same, and I just no. Little Crafty Nook says building in California, CA is California, I'm assuming, is absolutely fraught with regulations, permits, etc. It's insane. Yeah, building in Australia is the same. All sorts of permits and stuff that you need. So yeah, but tract homes, they are different. They're a bit different. Like we do have those here, but not the same. But not us, not in our house. So yeah, so it's a bit different. It's just this little, built in the 80s, little jobby, still standing, still good. Needs a new roof, but it's still good. Little boxes, lots of, yeah. We've got an estate not too far from us, actually. It's called Woodlands, and it's that. It's exactly that. Where there's like a handful of options that people were able to have, but in essence, every house looks the same. They're in tiny little blocks. Their roofs nearly touch each other. Yeah. I think I'd rather live in an apartment than that, to be honest. Like, yeah. I think so. Maybe. I don't know. I'm like, I'm looking at photos and I'm like, no, backing away from that. That's awful. Yeah, lots of little boxes. Well, my friends, I think we've covered over what I wanted to cover. Now, I will say it again. I wanted to, because I feel bad that I missed them last week. Thank you to Doug and to someone for the Buy Me a Coffees that they dropped me last live stream that I totally missed. I do apologize for that. I don't know why I missed them. Then the notifications apparently did come up and I just totally blanked on them. I don't know why. I just did. So I'm just double checking here that I haven't been a tool and missed them again. No, I'm a good person. Yay for good people. Livestream consultant says they are usually 5 designs. Sometimes they mirror the image. They mirror image them in the same developments. Can be 20 to 100 homes in a tract development and on postage stamp lots. Yeah, we're getting a lot more than the 20 to 100. These are big developments. They normally open them up in stages and they're just enormous. Like they've opened one up called Yarrabilba. It's a little bit further away, and it's such a big development that it has its own schools, medical clinics, things like that. So it's a very big development. But anyway, Doug's making it so. Thanks, Doug. All right, so I'm going to run away. I'm going to go and do some other bits and bobs. Thank you so much for joining me and helping me also get over the jitters of the bad live stream. I think I needed to sort of just really have a good one. So you guys have been amazing to help me have a good live stream today. Technically wise, everything's been perfect. So yeah, so I really appreciate you jumping in. I hope you all have your own backup plans so that if you don't want to not live stream, you've got the option to try another way. And I will catch you all next week. Be good, everyone. Bye now.